Today's video will be the second part of precision testing for the PSA Sabre M110. It will be shot in a factory configuration, sans a change to the bipod as well as the muzzle device. The ammunition used for today's testing will be the Federal Gold Medal 175 and 168 SMK, as well as the Hornady 168 grain hollow point boat tail. Without further ado, let's get into testing. The first ammunition tested is the Federal Gold Medal 175 SMK, fired prone using an Armageddon Game Changer rear bag, and shot with two back-to-back 5-shot strings, then a cooldown period, then the next two 5-shot strings, a cooldown period, and the final 5-shot string. This was repeated for all of the ammunition types that were tested for this series of testing, sans the Hornady, due to cutting it short due to erratic results. But overall, no significant point of impact shift and very respectable groups coming from a gas gun with factory ammunition. Again, very, very pleased with the overall performance of this ammunition in this rifle as far as a combination. Next up is the Federal Gold Medal 168 SMK load. Historically, testing of this rifle, I've noticed that the 168 grain offerings don't perform quite as well as the 175s. This actually held true during this testing as well. Although the groups were somewhat respectable, they were not nearly as tight as what I've seen with the 175s. Certainly good enough for a lot of applications, but the purpose of my testing is to always try and achieve sub-MOA results, and unfortunately just was not able to get there with the 168s. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing considering the BC advantages of the 175 and the similar velocity ranges. The final ammunition that was tested was the Hornady 168 grain hollow point boat tail. Unfortunately, the target camera was down for the first two strings. The first group was in the upper left-hand corner and was actually the best performing 5-shot group for this ammo and rifle combination. Following the first group, the results, as you can see on camera, were very erratic, started getting significant point of impact shift, as well as very large groups that were definitely outside of the sub-MOA accuracy or precision that we're looking for. With the shooting complete, let's look at the overall data. So the Federal Gold Medal 175 was the star of this testing. Over 30-shot string, average velocity was 2553 feet per second, standard deviation of 8.8, which is very, very respectable for factory ammunition. Looking at the overall groups for the 175 SMK, very, very pleased with the performance. Did have 3 shots that appear to be slightly outside of the centralized point of impact, but I do believe that that is attributed more to slight variations with the ammo, and this rifle being a bit more picky on the ammo that it prefers, whether that's the base to ogive or base to shoulder variations that may be present within the ammo. Moving on to the next group, or the next ammo type rather, Federal Gold Medal 168. Again, 30-shot string, 2592 feet per second, average velocity, standard deviation of 18.3, a little bit larger than what we saw with the 175 SMK. Factor that in with the lower BC and the groups not performing nearly as well as the 175 offerings. This is decent ammo, but this is certainly not something that I would choose and select for continuous shooting with this rifle. And now we can move into the Hornady 168 hollow point boat tail. Average velocity 2596, standard deviation 13.4 and 11.9. There were 2 different strings of fire associated with testing this ammo, just because I wanted to give the barrel a chance to cool down after seeing the results of the first 2 groups, just because it went from a decent performer to a very, very large group, and then it just progressed to maintain a very, very large dispersion as far as on the overall group. For the price of this ammo, it's probably good ammo for certain applications, certain rifles, but unfortunately my copy of the PSA Sabre just does not like this ammunition, and had the worst groups out of all the ammo tested, and stopped the string after only firing 20 rounds, just because there was no point in wasting more ammo. It was certainly not going to be sub-MOA, and that's what I'm looking for. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's going to be some additional video and content coming out in the future. Everything from testing pre-fit barrels for 6mm arc, several different gas guns, whether that's going to be 6mm Creedmoor, 6 arc, 223, as well as some rimfire content involving my Voodoo, my B14R, as well as some modified and custom 1022s. So please like, subscribe, and look forward to seeing the comments in the comment section.